tip.
Good afternoon. It is May 22nd, 2019. You're listening to A Little Column A, A Little Column B, hosted by William Nelson, co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? Recently we had a TV show that has been very popular. Lots of people liked it. Recently it ended. It ended with a little bit of some controversy. There were some mixed reviews. How are you coping with the end of Veep?
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't finished it.
Oh,
you
say you're saving the last season?
I haven't made it through. I took a little bit of a break on it. That show went by so fast that suddenly it was like, I need to savor this, because with the first day I started, I want to say I watched like 2 seasons. Like, it just flew by. Way too fast of a show. So I did give it a little bit of a break. I also got immediately distracted by the show Barry, which also I think just had their season finale last week, this most recent week. And that has been incredible as well. Highly recommend Barry. If you haven't seen Barry and you're a Bill Hader fan, this is a really fun role to see Hader in. As well as Henry Winkler? I don't
Winkler, yeah.
Everyone knows. Everyone but me knows who that is. All right. He totally hits his stride in the show. And is just awesome. Like, probably the most comfortable role he could have ever had at the age he's at. But definitely check that out. I did not see the end of Veep, though. I'm excited to see it. And I also think you were completely referencing Game of Thrones, which everyone seems to be so up in air about. I've yet to see an episode, so I don't really want to comment too much about all of it. But do you remember a show where people were this disappointed with the finale and more or less the final season?
Oh yeah, I've heard for the last episode, people being real upset with How I Met Your Mother. That's the last one I can think of that people were, like, the majority of people were against it. I think when Breaking Bad ended, there was definitely mixed reviews, but I would say more positive than negative. But the whole last season of Breaking Bad was good. But like I said, we're both kind of on the outside looking in, but I would say that there's much more people that are upset with the finale, with the whole last episode, than with any other shows I can really think of off the top of my head. I know Dexter's another one.
Ooh, Dexter
didn't watch
good.
that live, but I knew a kind of a heads up that final season gets a little wonky, and that kind of ending I was not a huge fan of. Any shows that you're a real stickler. You want these finales to really land with perfect precision. So what do you got?
I think Dexter's an easy one to say. Although that whole show really frustrated me a little bit. I'm not saying it was a bad show. It caught my attention and maintained my attention throughout the entire series. So like, it wasn't. I'm not like trashing the show. I just thought you have to have something in mind, especially when you last that many seasons, of how are you going to wrap this up. And I understand being in the moment and just kind of going with it and being like, you know what, we're hot right now. We're just going to keep doing this. This is going to last forever. But at some point, I think you have to know how you're going to end this. And How I Met Your Mother is a perfect example of that. Of like, you know, the entire premise of the show is based on how this ends. Like, we all know what is supposed to happen right now. And I feel like they tried to trick us too much. And I just don't like when season finales, and specifically last seasons, feel so rushed. Just take more time. I understand it's hot and you want to do all this, but for the creative process, everyone would be so much happier, I think, if they didn't rush all this stuff, or they just had more help, better writers. I wouldn't rush it. I'm not going to throw out a whole bunch of. I can tell you a couple I enjoyed. I thought the House season finale was good. Entourage is kind of strange. How was Veep? Was Veep solid? No spoilers.
Yeah, they did a good job. It's always tricky with a comedy, just because with a drama, usually there's a mystery. So when the mystery gets wrapped up, it kind of has a natural end point. But with a comedy, usually the stakes are much lower, and just how exactly do you end it and say, hey, you don't get to hang out with these people anymore? And well, wait, why not? Where are they going? So it's always you kind of force them to split up. At the end of Friends, they kind of were going into the suburbs. They're kind of going their separate ways. So it's like, okay, this group won't be hanging out as much anymore. That's why this has to end. But I was cool with it. It's just endings on shows you like are just never fun. So even when they end it perfectly, it's still but I want to hang out some more. Like these are my friends. Well, now I need to get new friends. This is ridiculous.
Have you ever finished a show and then went back and watched the pilot immediately after, just to see like how far we came?
No,
No.
I've really tried to avoid doing that.
You
That just seems how you get into the loop where people do that with Friends and The Office and Parks and Rec, where then you're just watching it over and over again. And I could easily fall into that rut. So that's why I have my list, and it's okay. I've ended this, and all right, this is the next one. Let's go before we go back.
so
And
Shameless, I
give
think
give it some time to breathe.
you're watching Shameless right now, and I think that's a good example of a show
Mm-hmm.
where I did this. So it's not the show's not over. I think they have another season, maybe 2 seasons coming. At least one
Mm-hmm.
more. I think it might be the last one. The next one, one of the ones coming up. It's wrapping up soon, and I just saw the end of the most recent season, and I immediately just went back and was like, man, this show is crazy. Like it's been going on for so long. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens, and I went back and I watched the pilot again, and it's like these all these kids have grown up. They're adults now. Like the real world has hit them at this point. Like they're not even childhood actors anymore. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit of just being like, wow, I watched this entire family grow up right on TV right now. They're not just like actors anymore. They're like full grown adults. And that I think that was a good example of just seeing how far the show developed and the actual changes. And I think shows need that to a certain degree. But as long as you answer, I want to say the most important questions, or if the show generally always left things open ended, I think it should kind of be open ended to a certain degree. Like the way The Sopranos ended, I think is a perfect example of that. It's so open for interpretation, and I think a lot of questions they don't answer every single question throughout that show. Like you have to think about a majority of, oh well, this means this, well this means that, and if you're already that kind of type of show, you might get into more trouble by answering every single question. Does that make any sense at all, or am I just on cough medicine right now?
I agree with what you're saying. I think that if you try to wrap everything up, that's when you run into, hey, you're trying to rush at everything, and each character has to have this perfect ending, and this is where we're leaving off. And I think that sometimes you're better off leaving a little bit of mystery, so that way when it ends, there's still a conversation to be had. It's not, oh, the show ended. Yep, okay, that's what happened. It's, oh, what do you think happened to this guy? Where do you think he ended up? And it leaves the door open for more interpretation, for more arguments, for more discussions, and I think it makes it a little more fun to have a little bit of mystery. You don't want to have huge mysteries left off where if a show just gets canceled and you just really just left out on a cliffhanger. But I think if you end it correctly with a little bit of, hey, what do you think really happened here? I think that makes for more fun post viewing conversations.
Yeah, I generally if I ever rewatch a show, I do not watch the season finale again. I don't watch the ending. I just leave it at that. I just move on. If I ever rewatch Mad Men and I make it all the way through, I don't watch the last one. I just it's not even that it's that bad. It's just it's not what I want. It's the saddest episode. It's
Yeah,
it's the least Mad Men of all the Mad Men episodes, and I think a lot of series are like that to a certain degree. Like when you wrap all this whole thing up, I think too many people want to answer all the questions and they forget that the show is supposed to be still the show because it's almost like a different series because it's ending. It's
yeah.
too far away from the original. But speaking too far away from the original, you know what? Let's change the direction up. Let's cheer Zach up a little bit. You want to talk some Magic Johnson drama right now? This is
Oh
unreal.
man,
This is unreal for one. The whole scenario of him leaving right now. We've talked about this on the podcast plenty of times already. This is going to be an ongoing thing for probably the next year of what really happened. And the more that comes out, the more we find out, the funnier and more ridiculous it all turns out to be. But Magic Johnson was not shy of the media this week, going on, I think, First Take and maybe a couple other shows, and just answering every question anyone was asking him honestly, openly, and very directly towards very specific people. Was there anything you were shocked by or anything you think that, oh, wow, I can't believe he said that. Maybe he shouldn't have said that. Is there anything he shouldn't have done?
he doesn't work for anybody right now. He can do whatever he wants. I think in between the last week's pod and this pod, I think it came out over the weekend, and I'm not sure, maybe it was a little farther back, but it came out that they're not going to hire a replacement for him. Like, there's going to be no president of basketball operations. Rob Pelinka is going to be the main. He's going to be the GM. He's going to be in charge. But is it, that part was weird. It's like, wait, like if you're running a business and you leave and they don't hire someone to replace you, what were you doing that was so non-essential that they don't need someone else to do it?
I think that's all right. So Pelinka was obviously insulted by Magic Johnson. I think this is how Pelinka is attacking Magic Johnson by saying you weren't doing anything, even if he clearly was doing a whole bunch of stuff. I think this is just a counter. It's almost like a counterpunch to this point of saying, well, we're not going to hire somebody to replace you because we didn't need you to begin with. I think that's all it is. I think it's just a counterpunch. I don't think it's a smart way to run an organization. I don't think there's any other team in the NBA that's running like quite like that. But there's still the Lakers.
Now to the stuff that came. Now the stuff that came out first take a few days ago. I think it was over the weekend. I think maybe it was Sunday night for that double overtime Raptors Bucks game. I texted you and I texted a couple other Celtics fans and just kind of jokingly, hey, remember when we were in the conference finals? You know, remember when we were playing basketball? Remember how fun that was? And just kind of, that's right, Celtics basketball. That was the thing. And then wake up in the morning, and then out of nowhere, Magic Johnson is just torching the Lakers.
Oof.
His organization that he just left, he already left, like, suddenly, surprised everybody. I already thought that was peak. This is just anarchy. Oh, no. He goes in and says that Rob Pelinka backstabbed him. He's airing all of the dirty laundry. Just all of the stuff that if you have an organization, you just don't want an ex-employee to do. Just all the things. And like you said, was answering just every question. Like he had nothing better to do than to just be there and say, anything you want to know, I will tell you about it. And just, I don't know how much players really care about all of this as like your main priority. But I'm definitely thinking if you're tied between a couple, and I realize it's the Lakers and they got all the history, there's going to be part of it of, yeah, you guys were real good for a long time, but man, does it seem like a dumpster fire over there, and I don't want my career to get roped up into this. And just really wondering if they strike out again in free agency and no one goes to play with LeBron, like what happens there? Does he just continue to truck along? Like are they going to be content with missing the playoffs again? Not any sort of success in the playoffs, just completely missing the playoffs.
The West is getting better. I mean, Zion's coming west. Anthony Davis may stay in the West. There's nobody leaving. And Kawhi Leonard may be coming to the West. Jimmy Butler may be coming
Morant
to the West.
Going to the West.
There's no reason. I think Dallas is a perfect example of a team that is already reloaded and is going to be in the West. Porzingis is coming.
When he gets history, he'll be. Yeah, he came west
with Luka there now, and they kind of got a year under their belt, and they were good at the beginning of the year. It wasn't until they made the trade that there was suddenly like, hey, quiet tank mode. Let's not nobody win. Luka, you do you. But Luka might have lost like rookie of the year if with this quiet tanking right now. So the Lakers are in trouble. But I think one thing we could easily agree on is that actions have consequences right now. Am I the only one who feels like Magic Johnson just totally threw everybody under the bus? And I don't look at him any differently. I don't hold any of this against him. I don't feel like this is something he did that was wrong. Even though if this was anybody else, I think I would feel that way. Is Magic Johnson just that likable, and has he done that much for the NBA that he can kind of get away with this? Or do you think that he was just screwed in such a bad situation, and then now that he's free and you could see the chaos that he was in, that you were almost like, yeah, tell your story, because it sounds like you were in a really bad situation, and you're Magic Johnson. Your life should be awesome.
I think that he is a little bit untouchable, and especially for something like this of you go out and you talk about the team, but there was no. I didn't think there was like any maliciousness. Like I mean, we're talking about this, and I think we're a little excited because it's the Lakers, and it seems to be things are melting down even farther than we thought possible. But it's still there's not like there's really a huge scandal here or anything. It's just surprising that they couldn't make the situation work, and it just seemed like having Magic in the room was a huge just help on getting free agents on everyone. It just all the things that I've heard about Magic Johnson is just when you're in the room with him, you know you're in the room, and like he can really focus in on you and make you feel real at home and real comfortable, and just has that charisma that not everyone has. That's all the things that I've heard about him.
Do you
So
think
just
do you think if Magic Johnson isn't there in LA last year, do you think LeBron James still goes there? Or do you think that decision was strongly based on Magic Johnson being there? As that was the one question I don't think somebody asked is did you bring LeBron James to LA or did LA bring you and LeBron to LA? Like what happened first? And it may be a little bit of
I think
everything.
it helped. I think it helped. I think that LeBron likes the way that Magic's post career has gone as a very successful businessman. And I think he thought that Cleveland was not going to give him the opportunities that the living in LA was going to do for him on entertainment, business connections, the where his kids could be able to go to school now that they're playing some pretty high level youth basketball. So I think that Magic definitely helped, but I'm not sure if that was the number one priority.
I think it was. I think LeBron's already going to regret this entire. Do you think he regrets this decision already? It's 1 year in. Like the other thing is they could easily be one player away if they somehow manage to pull in one more guy, if not two more guys, which is plausible. It seems very unlikely at this point. But do you think LeBron regrets this decision?
No, no, because I really very much think that I mean, he still wants to be successful at basketball, but I think his focus is now starting to look more and more towards a post basketball, or at least a post playing basketball, and that it's not the utmost importance to have the most successful team. He's still trying to do that, but it's not. I don't think he's going to try to force anything, like trade me to the Warriors or something like that. I think that he's going to try to. He likes where he is, and he's just going to try to work internally to get guys on the team that he wants, and really hoping for that Anthony Davis move.
Well, speaking of opportunities, we'll talk Warriors maybe later in the pod. They're heading their fifth straight finals. I don't think there's a whole lot there to talk about. They have some injuries. But what I want to talk about is the Michigan college coaching job has now been filled by Juwan Howard. And I think that's a great hire. I think this is a good story for both parties, especially based on the, I don't know, more or less aggressive history between everybody in the Fab Five in Michigan. Does this bury the hatchet? This is good news, right? I think because these guys have been, I guess, just uncomfortable ever since that whole like scenario happened. Do you think that he'll actually be a good coach? Has he coached before? It all sounds good on paper of everything I just said, but is Juwan Howard even a coach? Is he all right?
I think that's part of it that I do like, rather than just that's a guy that played at Michigan going back to Michigan, and just like what? Hold on, like what about the coaching part of it? He's in a similar situation as Patrick Ewing. I don't think for as long, but he's been an assistant with the Heat for 6 years. So that's a while. You definitely pick up some stuff, especially with Spoelstra. Spoelstra is a decent coach at the very least.
Oh, I'd say above average. Above average for the current.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like
yeah.
I would say like at the lowest. You can argue, is it LeBron? Is it him? But even when you're coaching LeBron and all those guys, you still have to manage all the players, get them all going in the right direction, even if you're not exactly coming up with crazy X's and O's. But so could be Patrick Ewing went back to Georgetown. Chris Mullin recently just ended his run at St. John's, so he returned to St. John's. So hopefully it's more successful than that. he's 46. He's a young guy. If this works out, he could be the long-term solution. He had he had success in the NBA. He wasn't you know
No.
crazy good, but I mean Penny Hardaway is killing it at Memphis. They got one or two more recruits last week. They have the top recruiting class in the country. Memphis
Hey,
over
good.
Duke, over Kentucky, over Kansas, over everyone. They are the top on like by a couple of different recruiting websites.
Oh,
So
I'm
maybe
glad.
that
I'm
hey
glad he's turned around. I'm glad that life is. That's a. It's just sad when you see players not able to like finish their career. Like at least Juwan Howard was able to have a playing career. It may not have been the most successful one, but I'm excited for this. I think this is good. Michigan was good
yeah
last year.
I,
Michigan has a good team right now. I think that's the
yeah
most exciting thing.
I like that they gave him a 5-year deal. That gives you plenty of time to recruit, to get your own guys, to really give you a legitimate shot. If you going in there and it's 2 or 3 years, it's you're trying to make moves way too quickly. It's I have plenty of time to bring my kind of players in, and if I want to go the one and done route, which is going to be super hard to compete with everybody else, go for it. Or if you're going to kind of go more with a Virginia, a Villanova of okay, bring some guys in. We're going to struggle for a couple of years, but by the third year, we're going to have upperclassmen. We're going to have young guys coming in roles. Everyone's going to know what their roles are. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. John Beilein definitely had success there. I'm assuming that the recruits that he was bringing in this year were going to be very similar. So yeah, hope give him the best.
No, I hope I wish him the best too. I think that should hopefully it's a good marriage. I just really hope it works out. There's a variety of things that could completely go wrong, but that's any situation. I think it's more shocking that this position even became available, and I feel like they acted quickly. I mean, we just talked last week that this position was available at their man, who's the coach name? He's going to Cleveland. So
John Beilein.
Yeah. So that was kind of more of the shocking thing, and to counter this, I think this is let's save face. Like, yeah, all right, that sucks. We lost our coach. We had a good last couple of years right now, and now we're bringing in a guy that I think will make a lot of people happy. Because the fan base still loves him. I just don't know if the school is entirely in love with anybody from the Fab Five. I don't know. Do you think they're grateful for anything the Fab Five did, or do you think they look at it as more of problems and drama and borderline illegal stuff and bad timeouts? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. But
I'm really not sure. I think that the fans in general,
the fans are fine. I'm talking
when
about
you
the
know a
school.
guy, a casual fan. I'm just thinking at this point, the school, anyone that was in the administration back then, that's a long time ago. It's almost 20 years ago. I would think that those people would have moved on, and I think that there's just some differences with the vacated Final Fours. It's just since then there's been other schools and other people that have had to vacate Final Fours, and just maybe because it happens more often that there's just a softer stance on it, and it just doesn't have quite the same penalty, or it's just kind of more, oh yeah, we can't hang these banners up, but you know what, we were there, we know that we won them, and we don't care, like
Yeah.
the kind of the Louisville situation.
Louisville. That's a bad situation. You know what? Let's talk about another good college situation right now, and that is at Morehouse over there, where the graduates are going to have their student loans paid by Robert Smith, who was giving a commencement speech, and this was more or
Yep.
less his little kicker at the end there. Am I explaining that
Yeah.
story? What else did Robert Smith say? Is he promising something else to these people?
He's already promising to take care of all their student debt, so that's a huge chunk of money for a lot of students. Kind of feel like I was robbed at my commencement speech, don't you?
I didn't realize that was an option. I would have been rooting for that. It's kind of like you get one wish when you blow out the
Yeah,
candles. I didn't realize I could wish for that. I would have wished
yeah.
for
I
more
think I
wishes.
would have tried to be a little more excited. I just remember being real hot. That was about it. It was Judge Judy was my commencement speaker, so that's an easy one to remember. It really cool thing for him to do. They say that African American students tend to have to take on more debt to get through school, so this is something that's really gonna help them out. I was lucky that with my situation, I didn't have any student loans. So just more on a kind of stepping away from the actual, hey, awesome move by this guy, and more on just kind of a kind of funnier realm side of it. Of can you imagine if you graduated last year, like you really like got after it, graduated a year early, and then found out, oh, you
Oh,
got to be kidding me. Like it's like, no, I really can't afford this. Like I got to graduate a year early. I got to get back into the workforce. Or I was also thinking,
I
you're
didn't
one of
even
those
think of
people
these
that
scenarios. These are
in
brutal.
high school, you all right, I got into the school. All right, I'm gonna have to really, bust my butt working. You're working two jobs. You're working summertime. You're working, at school, which now not everyone thinks they need to do, and only to find out, your roommate that just hung around and played video games most of the time and was partying and got decent grades, but didn't do any work. It was like, I'll figure it out afterwards, and then to in a moment just find out, oh yeah, all that work was kind of for nothing.
Oh,
Like
I didn't even think of that.
it's gotta hurt.
I didn't even think of that scenario. That's awesome. Yeah, because that would have been me. That would have been the worst part. Oh, that's
Yep.
crazy. I had no idea that I didn't even think of that scenario at all. I just thought of more of like this was like an Oprah thing, or just suddenly you get a car, you get a car, just like, oh, this is
Yeah, but
amazing.
then it's
This
like,
is
ooh, not a lot of people do have student debt, but not everyone does.
yeah, yeah. No, I didn't even think of that. That's
Yeah.
brutal. But I mean,
I
it's an
suppose
awesome.
there's worse things to complain about. Like I said, this was more on the comedy side of it. For him to do that, that's an awesome move by him. It's his money. He should do whatever he wants with his money, and get everyone that is at it was going to be thousands of dollars into debt, for them to start at zero is just a huge advantage going into the workforce. And I think that a lot of people, when something of that magnitude happens to you, you for sure pay it forward. And even if you can't, also go to a commencement and pay for everyone's student debts. You can do other smaller things, and just when you're kind of got that thought of you're having a bad day and just like, man, everything's going against me. Like the whole human race, you're just having doubts. It's like, you know what? This guy went and paid for my whole student debt, and just can kind of bring your whole day around.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have no idea who Robert Smith is. So maybe if I'd known who he was, I would know a little bit more about all this. I don't know. This is crazy. I don't think I would ever expect that at a commencement speech. Do you think this is a new trend? Is anyone else going to try and top this? Like, do you think there's other commencement speakers that are like, oh well, Robert Smith over there paid for all their student loans. What are you going to do?
That's a good one. You can have a bunch of money and really be committed to do that. That's definitely not cheap. I'm wondering. Actually, I know for sure there's going to be a lot more jokes about it. Little open it up, lighten the tension, commencement. Hey, what? I'm so and so. Just to give you a heads up before I start, I will not be paying your student debts.
All right. Well, I don't know where that's gonna go, but fun story nonetheless. Congrats to the guys in Moorhead for not only graduating but receiving a nice send off gift. Just know that that's not a normal thing in life. That's new. This is a new thing. This hasn't been around forever. Speaking of new things, I saw this video. I don't know if you've heard this yet. The Joe Rogan artificial voice intelligence. So Joe Rogan, another famous podcaster, comedian, TV host. He's done a lot of stuff. I guess there's enough recordings out there, and I'm sure they could do this with multiple other people as well, where they were essentially able to convert his voice to computer on demand. Like he had like an artificial you type and it says whatever Joe Rogan wants to say. Is this terrifying? Like, cause there's a lot of voices on us right now. We do the podcast once a week. Is there any concern of somebody being able to replicate our voices and make us say whatever we want to say?
Did you test it out?
No, I didn't test it out.
Like, was it? I guess my main question is, could you tell that it was not him talking? Almost like a GPS voice where the inflections just aren't quite right. So it's like, make a turn on.
All right, there was a little bit of that during some of the segments, but there was also points of the segment where I didn't even bat an eye on it. It's like, that's Joe Rogan. I've heard this before. It
Huh,
wasn't.
that's interesting. It's just because when you, I believe the number is he's getting close to, I think, 2,000 podcast episodes, and that's just kind of on a number I saw. Like that could be. I think he said he's been podcasting for like 10 years now, so that could have easily been just this current version that he's in,
Yeah.
as well as all the TV time that he's done. And there's only so many ways that you can create combinations of words. So I'm sure there's whole sentences that you want him to say that he said that word for word already.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how realistic it actually all is, but my voice today is certainly going to be covered up from anything else I've done. Fighting a cold here, but power through. Sick game. We're going to be all right. I just want to make sure I shout out the website before I forget to do any of this kind of stuff. Check out the website, lcalcb.com, for all your podcast information. Check out the bio on there. Find out more about Zach and I, as well as check out Zach on his Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
And check out Sold by Will for all your San Diego real estate needs. Speaking of some business drama right now, have you been keeping up with this whole? I mean, we're not a political show, so we're not going to talk about any of this, but we have talked some tech in the past, and I am always fascinated by where the next phone is going to be coming from and what the next phone products are going to be, because we use this stuff every day, all the time. It's an essential phone. A phone is an essential thing that everybody has at this point. But there's been this China U.S. kind of going back and forth on some business demand and some shutdown. So Huawei is a big Chinese company, and they produce phones. They produce probably the second most phones, second only to Samsung. I'd say Samsung is the top dog, and Huawei's second, and number 3 would be Apple. So they're huge. They may not be as huge in the U.S., but they have been coming out with some really awesome phones over the past 2 years. But the ban has essentially said no. You can't do business with any Chinese companies anymore. So they use the Android, I'll say, software and the Google software, and as well as some other American tech stuff as well. And they're no longer allowed to use that. And if someone has purchased this phone, they've got 90 days to essentially figure it out before they're going to stop getting software updates. And now they're going to have to create like their own software system. And it's almost like that we have eliminated this company now that out of competition, because that's a lot to ask for them to essentially restart an entire. Could you imagine trying to build Google or just use Google, like, because that's what they're kind of up against right now. And I don't want to get in the politics of it all. I'm just thought there's something to talk about here about a company that is number 2 in the world in phones and is suddenly being told they can no longer use Android and Google, and it's going to be in really big trouble. Like, this is crazy. I mean, they have the money to maybe fund something else, but we'll see. Any thoughts on just being able to see actual consequences between two countries?
I've only just started to scratch the surface on this. How do you pronounce it? Huawei?
Huawei.
Huawei. I saw you put it, and it's like, ooh, I don't know how to. I've heard how you pronounce it, and it's like I can't quite put my finger on it. So I've just kind of started to scratch the surface on it. I'm definitely not super knowledgeable on it, and there's just a whole lot of things going on there, like you said, between just between the tariffs and what you think about tariffs and what you think about China in general, on top of what you think about this company and what you think about, just except like you can't use Google. It's kind of a big deal.
Oh, well, just the comfort level. I mean, everybody has essentially gotten used to you either use Android or use Apple. There's probably some stuff in between, but nobody's using it. I mean, I remember the Windows Phone didn't work out very well. BlackBerry's gone. Like, this is it. There's Android and there's Apple. And I guess in the long run, if they're not able to fix something out here, there'll be a Huawei system or something, or something very closer. But just imagine coming to the market and being like, "Hey, look, we can make all these badass phones. We have all the nice like hardware stuff, the screens and the batteries or whatever. But we want people to be familiar with it, so they don't have to. There's no learning curve. The learning curve is back now. Like that, I feel like they kind of got bailed out a little bit by saying, "Yeah, all right, well, just let us use your stuff," and it's good for them because now Google's in every phone. Who doesn't want that?
More data for them.
Yeah, so like I just think it's a fascinating scenario. The phones have gone on discount as well right now. They won't receive any software updates, but I've seen some people being very optimistic out there saying, you know what, buy the phone now. These companies are way too big to not essentially make this work out somehow in the long run.
Figure it out
And
somehow.
that you may have to tough it out with the kind of an unupdated phone with some vulnerabilities for a couple months here, but hopefully it wouldn't be too long before you're able to bounce back and everything goes back to normal. But I don't know. This is wild. I don't know a whole lot about the political stance of the economic stance on either side right now. I just know that I considered getting this new phone, and now I am nowhere near touching this. And and it just kind of happened overnight. It was like, whoa, all right, because the P30 Pro, this Huawei phone, has probably one of the best cameras out there. They have this like, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's like a 6 times zoom. Super creepy. This thing can zoom in this far. Like, and it does a really good job without looking all pixelated and delayed, and like it just does a really good job. And better than most of the other phones for the zooming in part. So it's definitely some improved tech out there, but we'll see where it goes. I think it's a fascinating story. I also think it'll be interesting to see if there's someone else who wants to play with Android and Apple for the software right now. Speaking of teams and players being there or maybe not being there, I mentioned we were going to talk about some Warriors basketball. They are going to their fifth straight finals. I don't know, whatever dynasty these guys got going. But some question marks for players. Is Kevin Durant going to play? Is Andre Iguodala going to play? Is Boogie Cousins going to play? And if these guys do not play, is that going to be enough to defeat whoever ends up making it out of the East right now? That series is tied up. Any concern for any of these players that are currently injured?
Boogie hasn't played in a long time. They've already won without him. They've won without Kevin Durant. I guess a little concerned about Andre Iguodala, but I think they're still just so much better than the East. That even if they're missing all three of those players, maybe the East steals a game or two. But with all healthy, I don't see either of these teams as far and away better than the Cavs teams from the past few years. They're really good, and they were able to take advantage of that that spike in the salary cap to get Kevin Durant. And yeah, they're a super team. They've been a super team for a while. The last time that a team has gone to the finals 5 times in a row, we're talking about the Bill Russell Celtics.
Oof.
Like in the 60s, like a long time ago. So this is an incredible run they're on. Are you a fan of the run? Are you tired of the run? Where are you at on the Warriors right now?
I mean, all right. You know what? The easiest way to describe my feelings of the Warriors is everybody's feelings in the entire world on Draymond Green. You freaking hate him, and you root for it. You root against him. You don't want any success for him. But then when he makes a nice play or a nice pass, it's like, oh, god damn, these guys are really good. And I kind of feel that way almost about the entire team. Watching Curry and Clay just run around from all these screens, get all these fouls, and shoot all these ridiculously tough shots, and then when they make them, and it works so often to the point where it's like, oh, that's right, these guys can do that. It's hard not to be impressed by the amount of basketball skill on that team. But do I want them to win? No, I'm over it. I don't want them to win anymore. But it's been fun to root against them, and I don't think they got lucky in any way. I think they've overcome every single obstacle that you could ask for. I mean, sure, it's a loaded team, but there were still obstacles. They still had to figure this out. They still have to show up. Curry and Clay are hurt a little bit early on. Durant's got to carry the load. Boogie goes out. Draymond steps back in. Hey, Draymond's the huge X factor, though. I hate to say it, but when he's playing well and he's pushing the ball, they're unstoppable. They're just on a whole other level of ball movement and assist to turnover ratios. Like everything seems to work very, very well out for them when Draymond's playing well. But I disagree. I actually think somebody in the East is going to be able to. They're going to win more. They're going to win at least a game on them. I don't know if they'll win the series, but I think Milwaukee will make it a series. I think that Giannis is just such an individual force at this point.
They got beat by 20 points last night.
Yeah, Toronto's weird though, because Toronto has nights where they're the best team in the league, and then they have nights where Kyle Lowry disappears.
And the Warriors have nights where they absolutely murder a team. Like you got to be on your A game all the time, and to lose by 20 points when you're supposed to be this elite team, like it's one thing you lose a game, but to lose by 20, and they were down by 20 for
All right, so you said it's a sweep.
all the fourth quarter.
Are you keeping the broom out from?
I don't know if it's a sweep, but there's never going to be a doubt.
No, I don't think there's ever been. There was no doubt last game. Golden State was. I saw the numbers. Golden State was down for the majority of the series against Portland. Portland, like, if you go minute for minute, Portland was winning more than half the time. Probably even more. Probably like 60% of the time of that series, and they lost every game. They didn't even win one game. You lead for 60% of the series, and you don't win one game. I mean, you easily have a chance to win 4 games, but it really wasn't even close. The domination
without Kevin Durant,
and without Iguodala,
a league MVP, a multi-time Finals MVP. So just a guy,
No, it's unbelievable. But you know what? Times are changing, right? That West is getting tougher and tougher and tougher, and the more players that go there, and the less that go East. You got to think at some point this comes to an end. Especially, is Kevin Durant going to leave? If they win without him, does that entice him to leave more or less? Say Kevin Durant doesn't play in the finals at all. Say he's done for the rest of the year, and they go on and they win in 5.
I think he's already made up his mind. Nothing that happens in the next few weeks affects it. He's already in his mind. He's decided whether he's going to New York or staying in the Bay. I think he's already made his decision.
You think? All right. I think
Yep.
I think he's made up in his mind that he's either staying or going, but I don't think he knows where he's going yet. So I think he's either in Golden State or he's not, but he may possibly go to the Clippers. He may possibly go to the Knicks. He may possibly. What if you go? Well, why is OKC not another option? Can he go back there? Would that be good?
I don't know if the money works there. Now because they have Paul George and Russell Westbrook on the big time max deals, the new max deals, as well as Steven Adams. I'm not sure if he's a max player, but he gets paid over $20 million. So it might be a simple, the math doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, at least we got a series in the East right now. I guess we can talk about that for a little bit.
That's what I was excited about that. Just before we move on from the Warriors, I just had one last point on that. The one thing that I don't like overall, I like the dynasty. You just always hear about the Lakers dynasties, the Celtics dynasties, the Bulls dynasties in the 90s, which I sort of remember, but not really. But now it's like I was very much an adult for this Warriors dynasty, as see how long it goes for, and just down the road of when just talk about it, like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened. But what I don't like is, like you said, you got someone like Draymond Green that when he's got it going, it's going and it's really good. But he just fits within this team. And they said that recently, like the end of the season, he lost 20 pounds. So he was like 20 pounds overweight. So it's just, you're able to just kind of hide because you're on this super team, where if he was on some other team, are we seeing more peak Draymond? And I think it applies for some of the other players. I think Steph is going to be Steph on whatever team he's on. But wonder if Clay, and we know that Kevin Durant can already do even more. And just when they're all on one team, just the way that basketball works is everyone just kind of has to take a little bit of a step back, or some of them in some cases even a larger step back, and we're just missing out on better basketball if these guys had been scattered and they're surrounded by some above average players rather than all these superstars all right together, and just could be a little more fun, but without actually hand of God kind of thing. That's not how the NBA works.
So Zach is predicting that the Lakers are going to win the championship next year. Is basically what I just heard. So LeBron for MVP, and the Lakers win how many? 80 games, and then they beat the Warriors in the conference finals, or is this a 1-8 kind of matchup? Are they the 8 seed?
We already talked about how they melted down. There's no and LeBron's done winning MVPs. He's not going to win MVPs anymore.
All right. Well, bottom line is there's no need to watch any more NBA basketball. The Warriors are going to win it all. We're sorry to ruin it.
See, that's not true. I hate when people say that because it makes it that the last game of the year is the only one that matters. There's just so many other storylines and so much other fun stuff that goes on with the NBA beyond just who wins the last game.
So who's going to win the MVP? How about that? That sounds fair.
This year, Giannis.
Now what about the finals?
Finals? Is Kevin Durant back?
I'm gonna say no. Let's say he's not. Actually, even if he
Steph.
is, I think it's Steph's to lose at this point. I actually,
Nah.
If he
comes back, he'll win.
I would really want it to go to Draymond. Let's not forget Iguodala won the one MVP the first year too. It wasn't It wasn't Steph, it wasn't Clay, and it wasn't Draymond. It was Iguodala.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I would.
Yeah, 9 days away. I'm so glad that the Raptors won last night to even that up. So it's just okay, good. I'm not gonna have to go over a week, almost a week and a half with no basketball waiting for the finals. It's like such a long break, you'll forget that basketball's even on.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple topics left over here. You want to talk about the Oklahoma drill, or some White Lightning, or the brewery keg? We could probably
Let's
get
talk
two
about
of
the
those
brewery.
brewery keg.
I think that's that one's the most fun.
What happened with the brewery keg here?
So down in Charlotte, there's a brewery. It's called the Unknown Brewing Company, and their van got stolen earlier in the week. So that's crappy. You know, especially a lot of these breweries, they're kind of mom and pop organizations going on, and you don't have a ton. So what they did was they posted on all social media, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff, said, "Hey, we're missing our van. If anybody finds it, we'll throw them a keg party." In less than an hour, less than 45 minutes, 42 minutes later, they found their van, got it back, and said they got so many people sharing all of their social media. There's even some people that accused them, like probably jokingly, half joking, half serious, said, "Did you steal your own van? Because this is just viral marketing just took off." And they joked, said, "No, I guess there was more than 15 tips that were called in." And like I said, this is only in 45 minutes. And so what they're doing is there wasn't really one person that made it happen. So what they're doing is this week they're going to brew, it's called Van Theft Auto, and when it releases, they're going to sell it for 25 cents a pint. Pretty much all that does is it covers taxes. And said, quote, "That's as close to a free keg party as we can do for you, Charlotte."
That's a fun story. That's a cool story. I like that. Social media at its finest.
25-cent beers? I think we might need to make a trip.
Yeah. I mean, is it an exclusive party? Do we need an invite?
It doesn't seem that way. It seems for all of Charlotte. We're in Charlotte. I think we can go, right?
So do you think it was staged then or not?
I don't think so.
No, I don't know. It sounds staged. I this is the first time I'm hearing the story, and it just sounds.
But they're saying well, it's probably more strictly to Charlotte, but I think if your marketing campaign is that good, you wouldn't need to resort to this. And that I think they had no idea that they were going to get such a response and so many people sharing it to be able to get it back so quickly.
I'm telling you, we haven't heard the last of this story. That this is going to be staged.
You think it's a hoax?
I think it's a hoax. I mean, first of all, who steals a van? Who steals this stuff? Nobody steals cars.
Criminals?
Is car stealing even still? It's hard to do. They found the car immediately.
It's a van. I don't know. I'm not in the business of stealing cars or vans.
I mean, I'm not either. I don't want to make it sound like I know something that the average person doesn't know, but I don't think it's a.
Will Aliminos, known car thief. They're on to you.
Yes,
You're the police. They know.
Yeah, once you're able to artificially, recreate my voice, you can go steal cars under my own dialogue. I don't know how that's gonna help you, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was a good callback, but I was like, wait a minute, how are they going to use your voice to steal a car?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I am right now. I'm on.
You didn't think that one all the way through. That's a half-baked idea.
uh, yeah. Well, it's a sick one again. I gotta get healthy. This podcast is killing me. This is the worst one right now of me just trying to figure out how I can maneuver between every single topic and the buttons and the voice levels. And we have one person listening right now. I don't know who's listening, but they've listened to the entire podcast. So shout out to them listening to us live. You can listen live at lcalcb.com, or you can listen live at MixLR. I have no idea if they're listening on either one. But cool. We appreciate people listening. We thank everyone for doing all that. We do have a sweatshirt coming out soon. I actually haven't talked to Zach about that yet, but there will be a sweatshirt available on Amazon, hopefully by the end of the week. I got a good idea for it, so it should be wrapped up by the end of the week. If not, you can go check out the T-shirts are on there. Go to Merch by Will, merchbywill.com. Check out the Cozy Corner restaurant sweatshirts and T-shirts and pop sockets, and as well as the podcast T-shirts are available on there. They're premium shirts. They run a little large, so I'd recommend. They run a little small. Sorry, they run a little small. I would recommend buying a size a little bit larger for a more relaxed fit. So good stuff coming on there. Definitely check out the website. Last thing, they're gonna wrap up here. White Lightning or Oklahoma Drill. I don't really understand either one, honestly.
Well, they're both football. Maybe we can kind of rope
all right, go
rope them together.
Let the people know.
Yeah. So the NFL is asked teams to stop the high impact drills. The most famous one being it's called the Oklahoma drill, and this is a drill done pretty much at all ages. Basically, what it is the coaches set up some sort of divider, whether it's bags or cones, about 3 yards apart. And the most simplest way that you could do it is you got a offensive blocker, you have a defensive man, and then you have a guy running the ball. And the guy's got to run the ball in between the two dividers, try to score. The offensive guy is trying to block for him. The defensive guy is trying to make a tackle. There are variations on this. A lot of times it's used as I don't know exactly, kind of like that might be the 3 or 4 guys that are doing this drill might be the only ones actually doing stuff, and the whole team will be around watching it. And so it's almost like a competition, and everyone gets real fired up about it. But with it being in between these dividers, a lot of times it's kind of head to head, or at least front to front kind of contact. There's not a lot of area for the running back to juke or to try to spin or try to beat a guy to the corner. There's definitely no going out of bounds. So it definitely can be dangerous, especially if not done correctly. It was definitely one of my least favorite football drills when I was playing, because I was normally, how can I beat my man to the corner and then not have to try to run him over because everyone was bigger than me.
All right. So do you think we need the drill, or does this improve anybody? Are you a better football player because of this drill?
I think it can help in certain situations, but I think getting rid of it definitely doesn't hurt anything. I think that you could there are other fun activities or other pump up activities that you can do to get the team going for sure.
So if you're coaching a team right now, are you running the drill or you're not running the drill? I'm probably not running the drill. I think 90% of winning is just being healthy. if you have the right team and the right coaching.
Yeah, I didn't like the drill, so I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's other ways to get to what skills you're teaching and what you're trying to get out of it. There are other options for you.
All right, so now that this is a hypothetical scenario, say you do want to do the drill and the NFL tells you, please don't do this. Are you going to listen to them? Part of me says, no, this is your team, right? You call the shots.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see some videos of the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah. All right. Well,
And it might even be a just trying to show like, hey, we're a bunch of tough guys. We're not going to listen to what the man says. We're too tough for that. We're not scared of a little contact. We're still going to do it.
would the fair scenario be that this is an optional drill? Like if you want to do it, you do it.
I would think at the professional level, kind of aren't all drills optional.
All right. What about at the collegiate level?
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think that's no good.
Yeah, peer
Think
pressure.
about it in high school. If
pressure alone.
If the coach said,
yeah,
if the coach was like, yeah, this is a optional drill. Yeah, like there's nothing optional.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an optional practice.
Yeah, between the coach's expectation, your teammates' expectation, if you were to take up on that option of like, yeah, I'm not going to run these sprints, I'm good. It would be just team political suicide pretty much. So that's not a real option.
Well, while we're on the topic of team sprints, let's transition real quick into this White Lightning, the Matthew Balling accepts Ted Ginn's race challenge. We talked about him last week, I want to say. He was the high schooler that set...
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago, yeah.
It was like an unofficial record or something, because it was...
But since then, he's actually set the high school record.
Oh, okay. So now we can openly crown him then. There's no asterisk next to anything anymore. What was the challenge? How did Ted Ginn get roped into all this? And how old is Ted Ginn to be getting roped into something like this? Like, this is a guy in his prime almost here, versus Ted's got to be on the way out.
So Ted Ginn is the one that instigated this. Oh, good. He said, hey, everybody, I'm super fast. I'll challenge anybody to call it a pole-to-pole race and put $10,000 on the line. I was thinking that he was going to or he was expecting some other NFL players to challenge him, seeing as $10,000 is kind of a lot of money to a regular person, but maybe not so much to a NFL player. I think it's great marketing move by him to just put it in everyone's mind of, oh yeah, that's right, he's really fast. He ran a 4.37 40-yard dash at the 2007 draft, so he's definitely getting a little older there for an NFL player. But I also love this high school kid. Social media, everyone finds out about everything. Going, ooh yeah, I bet you're fast, but not track fast. Like, there's an easy way to make $10,000.
The other thing I saw this, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. Like within the last 2 years, just straight up stop and go route. Ted Ginn had the highest peak speed, I think, of the last 2 years on a go route.
Oh, okay.
I think it was him and Tyreek Hill, but I think Ted Ginn actually still has the record. Now it wasn't for like a whole 40, but I think it was like the guys that hit a top speed of this much. It was Ted Ginn and Tyreek Hill were the only two guys that went that fast. So Ted Ginn still got it. I don't know if he can hold it for very long anymore, but who are you picking in the race here? I kind of want to go with Ted Ginn still, but
I'm going White Lightning.
Oh, you're going with White Lightning?
Ted Ginn doesn't have a cool nickname. White Lightning? Sounds super fast.
Well, all right, fine. I'll take that. I'll take you up on that. You know what? I lose so many bets already that I'm not even going to bother.
See, now you're gun shy.
You're picking.
I don't think this will happen. I don't think this will happen because, like I said, if it was between two NFL players, there's gambling going on all the time at that level of all sorts of stuff, cards, and any sort of thing.
Well, can't you just make it for charity?
I don't think
you just make it for charity. That's how you do it.
But I'm thinking this high school kid might also. Like I said, he accepted the challenge. I don't know how official that was. If he's really got $10,000 to be able to throw into this, as well as I am sure he's going to college for track, and there's some sort of NCAA of, nope, no fun. You can't even do this for charity. Nope, we can't do it. And I think they'd poo-poo all over it, unfortunately.
All right, well, I'll take Ted Ginn. I need better odds though. It sounds like I'm an
I don't think
underdog.
it's actually happening, but if it did happen, it would definitely It would definitely be fun. Definitely, it's gonna be quick. It's gonna be over quick. But I'm just a big fan of the 100-yard dash. It's a quicker version of a fight where you're trying to impose your will on someone in a fight, and it's just similar with, like, there's no obstacles, there's no kind of wiggle room. We ran against each other, we ran the same amount, we started at the same time, and I got to the spot faster than you did, and there's no gray area, black and white.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun story. White Lightning, congratulations for setting records and having the name White Lightning. I don't know who gave him that, but God, there could be so many
Being
worse
in high
nicknames.
school and getting on the pod twice.
Yeah. What a
Twice in a
stud
month.
here. Look at him go. Well, we want to thank everyone, as always, for listening. Make sure you check out old podcasts and other stuff about Zach and I on lcalcb.com. Check out Sold by Will for all your San Diego real estate needs. And check out Zach's Twitter for his latest up-to-date drama in his life and drama in his TV ongoing list watching. You can check that out at
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Anything else to add before we go out?
Really hoping that the Toronto-Milwaukee series goes 7. Give us all the basketball. That's what I want. Most excitement.
More basketball, please. We'll be back next week. Thank you, as always, for listening. We do record live Wednesdays around 3:15, 3 o'clock. Rough start. We go for about an hour after that. So tune in. Thank you for, as always, listening.
Little column A, little column B.